So have you ever seen Disney's WALL-E or Star Wars' R2-D2? My team builds Disney's WALL-E for work outdoors in a 1.0 format. And what that product is today is a computer vision-based autonomous ground vehicle, really built around solving the labor problem within the most labor-intensive areas of agriculture. So think things like blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, nurseries, crops, citrus. Those are all areas where you've got huge numbers of people doing a lot of work in really like harsh conditions. And with our system, a grower can save 25 to 30% of their labor costs today while employing a vehicle that over time will be able to do everything that Disney's WALL-E or that depiction of the future does in the movies effectively. So I grew up on a working farm. And I think everybody likes a different element of agriculture. For me, I love the machinery and technology and gear that people use to do work. And what I really did not like about my family farm, and still do not like to this day, are all the tasks where I have to get out of like an air-conditioned tractor cab, where I'm pushing buttons and doing stuff really quickly. And I have to prune, pick, weed, spot spray, mow, weed whack. I mean, there's so many tasks that are outside of a cab or cannot be done mechanically and really require autonomy. And so that's kind of my lifelong obsession. I've got two co-founders and a team of 40, and we've got robots running on 3 continents today with a ton of different customers. And so it's been a very exciting and kind of lots of ups and lots of downs journeys, but we've come a long way. In ag, a lot of people have jumped to this idea of let's go into this really complex environment, let's move around, let's perceive these really, really fragile berries, and let's also pick them. Let's do it faster than a person. And what we have found is that that's probably a little bit further off than people think. And it's a lot more attractive today to augment a bunch of people working rather than replace them completely. And that yields you compelling ROI, better working conditions, and a product that isn't necessarily only able to be used in a harvest setting, can also be used in a bunch of other things, and therefore is actually a more valuable thing commercially. And so in our case, we are a collaborative robot that is offloading the movement piece. So, if you're harvesting something like berries, or if you're in a citrus nursery and you're moving things around, you would far rather stand in the shade and move or manipulate with a vehicle doing the heavy hauling back and forth. And so you're making more, you're standing in the shade, you're not hauling hundreds of pounds in the heat, and you have a vehicle that is providing your employer with a really, really good ROI, plus enabling you to do a lot more work more quickly. So I think we're a long, long, long way, if ever, from robots replacing people comprehensively. I think it's going to be people ruling and robots kind of toiling or doing the toil that people really don't want to do innately. One element of sustainability is just actually having labor to do work. And separately, when you think about what people do when they work outdoors, they do things in a very resource efficient way, or at least can do things in a very resource efficient way. But if you try to, or another way, if you're in your garden in your backyard and you see a beetle on a tomato plant, you will kill the individual beetle, or you will weed the individual plant to remove something. If you're doing that on a massive industrial scale, you do the same thing everywhere because you can't tailor your behavior to the particular nuance. And so I think with robotics, there's this inherent extreme improvement in resource and inputs because you're able to more selectively behave in time because you understand what's taking place at each and every plant. So I think that's one tenet of what we do. Just so this notion of robots understanding what's taking place everywhere and then ultimately doing things selectively in a more resource efficient way. Separately, we're an electric ground vehicle that can dock autonomously and run all the time and do a variety of tasks that otherwise would need to be done by a big diesel tractor. And so there's a bunch of things there around, if you have a solar site, or if you have a table grape vineyard or a blueberry operation, and you don't want to pay somebody to sit on a tractor burning 2 gallons of diesel an hour to go up and down rows mowing, you can instead use a burro with a mower behind it and have it autonomously dock and go to mow repetitively. And that's pretty environmentally beneficial and ultimately saving labor and producing kind of a better working environment as well. We had about 200 running last year. And we've done about 52,000 autonomous miles on the system. So that's 2 laps of the planet. This year will be in probably the 400 plus range. And they're running in the US, Australia, New Zealand, and South America. And 5 years from today, my company is, again, Disney's Wally for work outdoors in the 1.0 format. We're going to be supporting a whole host of other funky uses that are hard to describe in this room, but everything from blueberry pollination, scouting, mowing, towing. There's, again, these whole hosts of things. And we are going to have a whole host of empowered users that are developing uses that we can't even envision sitting here entirely, but start out through the lens of when people work outside, they move around, they look at things, and they do some manipulation. And we're doing movement and the looking at things part today in a more and more formidable form that will be, again, doing things we probably can't even imagine 5 years from now across a whole host of different industries.